Hello, hello. Theoretically, we might be online. I'm not entirely sure, but I guess we'll find out. Can y'all see me? All right. Can you hear me? Excellente. Very good. That's a good start. Always good if you can see me and hear me. Those are excellent qualities to have. Whoa, safety vest. Thank you. Man, you're awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Now, yeah, I've got brand new alerts now. It's weird. Like I had to reset everything up. I switched off of uh oh, pre-roll just finished. Okay, good. I switched off of Twitch Studio and I am now on OBS, which is infinitely more complicated. Twitch Studio is like, baby's first stream client. So going to OBS was a bit of an adjustment. I've got the basics set up. I don't have any of my like countdown scenes or be right back or any of that configured at all. But at the very least, we've got this. We've got, the screen, and this is the monitor that would never work with Twitch Studio, which is why I switched. Um, Out of curiosity, do the colors look like super washed out on the monitor? Oh, I'm sure I'll like it more. Yeah, it's just getting used to it, right? Um, do the colors on the monitor look super washed out, or is that just how it looks on my screen? Like, do the colors on the LCARS look fine? Okay, it looks on my preview window. They look super washed out, but that just may be just color differences between the two monitors. Yeah, so the LCARS colors should all be like super bright. Like this should be bright purple and not pink. Um, does this look purple? This text look purple, not pink? Hey Leah, thank you so much. Man, y'all are turning out. I love you guys. Thank you so much, Leah. And also I wanted to thank I gotta get their name. Wanted to thank someone who I need to find their name, scrolling back through. Yeah, it looks correct. Okay, good deal. It's just the way it just looks odd. Oh yeah, just another Grats. Again, I wanted to thank them for their 6 month subscription, which is just amazing. That was really, really cool of them. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you all for my early birds. We haven't started anything yet. Don't worry. My early birds were just helping me to test my new stream client, which is OBS, um, because there's a lot of options of things, and so I am not entirely sure what I'm doing. But hey, we'll figure it out. Yeah, my second monitor makes everything look wrong too. Know the feeling. Yeah, so what you guys are seeing now is the monitor that I've been trying to show you guys for like 2 weeks, and it would never work with Twitch Studio. And so I had this giant monitor like right here, and I was having to use my dinky little second monitor to stream. And so now I hope we have so much more room for activities, and we can, have more things on the screen at once, and have more, I guess, control over the environment, not have things not be so squished. So I hope this is good, but at any point let me know if there's problems with the video, problems with the audio, and I'll do my best to fix it. Hey, my walking media, welcome. Yeah, if you haven't already, feel free to follow me on Twitter, exclamation point Mayan Wolf, or sorry, exclamation point Twitter, and then you'll get my Twitter handle, and that's where I post information and schedule about my streams. Sorry for the late tweet tonight for those who were following me. I was literally troubleshooting this up until like 5:30, so which is about an hour and a half ago, which is cutting it super close for me. But thank you to the wonderful Divaker who helped me get this. So you might recognize this Star Trek app that we built last week or the week before. This is, we built the app, and we sort of had like a built-in API inside of our server.js file, which is what most of us have been doing. But I thought it would be really cool if we could take this existing app that we've already built and we posted on Heroku. If we could take this existing app and push it up and modify it so that the API data doesn't have to exist in the server.js folder anymore. If the API data could exist in a MongoDB database. Instead of just cluttering, because I know that some folks APIs, they've been working so hard on them, and they take up hundreds or thousands of rows in their server.js file, and so really those need to live inside of a MongoDB database where they can have plenty of space and be happy. So that's what we're going to try to do tonight. I have no idea how it's going to go. Like I say, I did it for my version of the Star Trek app, which is what we're looking at right now. And so this data that you're seeing in the console log and the data that you're seeing on the on the page here, this is all hosted on MongoDB, and it's going through Heroku as and it's coming back out on the command line, so or on the DOM. So if I type in humans, we can see we get fresh data back, and that is all coming from MongoDB. So fingers crossed, we can modify our existing apps to use MongoDB without too much trouble. Okay. Out of curiosity, are you all seeing chat pop up on the screen, like not just in the on the sidebar? Are you all seeing a chat box on the screen right now? Yes. Okay, good. It's not showing up for me, so on my preview window, so I have no idea. To the left of my picture. Oh, okay. I forgot where I put it, to be honest. I forgot where I put it, and it was behind my pop-out chat box. So yeah, I'm a mess right now. I have no idea where anything is, and yeah. So bear with me. I apologize. Also, my Twitch stats don't seem to be updating either, so I have no idea how many viewers we have right now. Barola Fox, hey, thank you so much for the raid. Wow, thank you for the raid. Oh, my raid animation didn't pop up either. Dang it. Oh, wow. Thank you for the follow, Looming Temper. Thank you for the raid, Vero. Good to see you. Oh, we got to turn on stream closed captioner as well. I'll get captions on. Jim, I am both raider and raidee, indeed. You encompass all things, Jim. Welcome, folks. We've got a really interesting project tonight, and I really hope it goes well. We are taking an existing app that we've already built, which is this beautiful Star Trek Federation Guide to Aliens. And we are moving it from being just an API, a bunch of API entries inside of a server.js file, and we are moving it to a MongoDB backend so that it can have space to be free and roam and, have thousands of entries like a real API should. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. Oh, thank you, Kevins. Yeah, this is a really beautiful template. It's I believe the website is the LCARS.com if you want this same template. I did not build this template. I built all the content in here, but I did not build this template, and it is a beautiful template by at Trekkie Jim. Yeah, we're turning it into a Mongo. We are. It's by I'll put their name at Trekkie Jim on Twitter. Yes, and let me mention that. There we go. That's them on Twitter, and Rascal provided their website as well. So if you want that template, you can download it for free. They have made it for free, and it's beautiful. All right. So if I type in, for example, Klingons here, this is a Federation field guide to aliens. And so if you are a Starfleet officer, you beam down to, like, let's say a resort planet, and there's a bunch of aliens wandering around, and you don't want to make a fool of yourself by accidentally misidentifying an alien or trying to speak in the wrong language. And so let's say you're not quite sure what a Klingon looks like. You can go ahead and click and get info about them, get a picture of them, and see things about them that might be relevant to your conversation so that, the Klingon doesn't get mad and punch your block off. Hey, Foxy Raid, thank you so much, Vero. Love to see ya. Thank you so much for the raid. Decades on TV theme song reference. Yeah, nice. Hey, welcome, Smile Girl. How are you? All right, so I have no idea how many people we have on stream right now because my view count isn't updating, but I'm going to assume that most folks are here. So we are going to go ahead and get started. 103. Okay, that's good. That'll do it. Especially since I didn't tweet until really late tonight, so I think a lot of folks missed my Twitter message today. Yes, and Rascal, I was just about to say that. You always know what I'm thinking. So the current code, we're going to start with an existing app. So we're not going to build anything from scratch tonight. We're going to start with an existing app, and then we're going to modify it to use Mongo as a backend, as a true backend, as a database that our server file can draw from. So the existing code, if you don't already have it, if you didn't follow along with my initial build of this app, and you don't already have your own version, you can get the existing existing code at that link that Rascal provided in the chat. It's actually two files. There's the client, which is the thing that we're looking at right now, you know, the web app or whatever. And then we have the API, which is where the server, it's the server side stuff. It's where all the data is currently being stored, and that we're going to be modifying it to move it to Mongo. And so, yes, Taco, we are going to need to install Mongo. So a couple things. Again, if you follow along with me before at any point, sorry for the white screen there, you should already have a MongoDB, a Mongo Atlas account. And so if you don't have one, go create one right this second, because you're going to need one. So you're going to want to go to, you know, MongoDB Atlas and follow along either with my CRUD app tutorial, or you know, follow along with the Zelu tutorial. Yeah, and that's true. We're going to be, you don't need to, you're not going to install like a Mongo desktop client or anything like that. We're just going to install the Mongo NPM module inside of VS Code, and we'll do that in a second. But yeah, we will need that in order to make sure that we can connect to our Mongo database. So let's just kind of take a look at the files, and let's see what's in there and what we're going to kind of be able to, what we're going to want to be actually moving out of our server.js file and into Mongo. So I'm going to open that up. Okay. So right now, this is inside the Star Trek API file. So this is the server side file. And we can see that, you know, we already have like our package folder, we have an index, but the most important file is our server.js file. And that's where all of our API data lives. So we have these objects here. We have humans, and it has a bunch of information about humans. We have Vulcans, we have Klingons, we have Romulans, Borg, Gorn, and Trill. And this is a lot of lines, right? And I know someone actually who has thousands of lines of API data like sitting in a server.js folder already, you know, because they're building out their 100 hours project already. And so, I mean, this takes up like quite a bit of space in what should otherwise be a fairly small file. And so really what we're going to want to do is we're just going to want to grab, like we're going to want to get this entire object, this entire aliens object, and just get it out of here. Get it in a database where it belongs. And then really after that, all we're going to need is just our gets, right? We're going to want to, you know, if our server gets a request from our app, we're going to want to make sure we're able to handle that request. But other than that, and a database connection, we're going to be able to clean up this file quite a bit. So that's what we're going to be working on tonight. And we're going to see if we can, sorry, that's my dog. We're going to see if we can get it working. So much space. I know. Yeah. You noticed the other day that the Pokemon APIs are huge. Yeah. So if you watched my Pokemon, where we made a Pokemon app that gets information about whether a Pokemon would be a good house pet, that particular API is like just absolutely massive. It's incredible. It even has so much data that it has to have links to other parts of the API, because otherwise it would be too many nested objects. It's incredible. So yeah, it's wild. So that's why those types of things you don't want those living in your server.js file, right? You want them living somewhere where they have plenty of space to expand and be free. So that's what we're going to be doing. Seeing some projects where they got a nesting of data categories and then the items that are, yeah. So check out the Pokemon API at some point and just drill down into it, and it is flipping wild. And somebody coded that at some point, which just blows my mind. Hey, Honda Civic, welcome. Okay, so we would love to do this, but it's gonna need some work, right? So the first thing I think we're gonna do is sort of prep our MongoDB collection, our MongoDB collection, and then the objects or the documents within that collection. Diglett would make a terrible house pet. Did you check that? Did you check that in the app? Did you confirm that in the app and see why? There's, if you run the app, it'll give you reasons why. Yeah. Oh, no worries, Zena. We're just doing the intro. It's been I'm gearing up a little slow today. Poor Diglett, indeed. Okay, so let's go back to Mongo here. I can't see. There we go. Okay. So I'm assuming that you already have a Mongo Atlas account at this point. And if you want to, you can actually create a new project for this, which is what I did. We already had our Star Trek quotes project that we did when we did the CRUD tutorial a couple weeks ago. But I went ahead and I created a new project just because I wanted it to be, a nice, clean, like named Star Trek API. But you're welcome if you already have an existing project. You can just say create database and create a new database and call it whatever you would like. So in my case, I just have this project, and I created the project, and then once the project was created, I just went to Browse Collections, and I just said Create Database. And from there, you can enter a database name and then a collection name. And so in my case, my database name is Star Trek API, and my collection name is Alien Info. And then after that, I just created it, and it creates a nice empty database for you. So once that's created, you can actually start building out the documents that are inside of your database. I don't know can you guys see this? Is it too small? It's very small on the screen. It just by default. I can make it bigger. I think I can zoom in here. It's bright white, yeah. I know. There we go. Is there a dark mode on Mongo? Does anybody know? Can I turn on dark mode? This is dark mode. You have dark reader? Mm. I know, I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, I'm zoomed in about as much as I can here, so hopefully you can see it. The dark reader extension. Okay, I'll have to get that, I guess, because yeah, this is a big like I'm bleach. Okay, I'll get that for I'll definitely get that for next time. But anyway, inside of your collection, you can actually start adding objects. And I'll tell you how I did it. I did it by hand just because we have the actual app right now is somebody asked, you hosted the API on Heroku. What is the actual app? Right now, the app is actually just locally hosted, but I'll probably dump it up on Netlify at some point. I just haven't bothered to do that yet. Yeah, right now it's still local. Hey, I'm watching your previous stream and I'm stuck because I'm having a hard time installing Heroku on a Chromebook. Interesting. I think some folks were talking about that on the Discord. Maybe if you search for it on Discord, like Heroku Chromebook on Discord, maybe you can find some folks that are at least, if not, if they haven't solved it, maybe they're having the same struggle as you and they can help. Oh, we out here under devsing. Yeah, absolutely. Welcome, Anthony. Okay, so once you have your sort of your blank database created, and then you have your collection inside of your database, you can start building objects and or documents as they're called in Mongo. And each of these is essentially going to translate into an object that you can pass back into the app. And Nene, it's up to you. I made a new cluster just because my old cluster was called Star Wars, and it just didn't seem right putting Star Trek data inside of a Star Wars cluster. So that is absolutely up to you. But I created a new cluster. You don't have to. You can just do a new database if you want to. So true. Okay, so if you want to add a new document or a new object manually by hand, you can click Insert Document. No, I still have both of them, so you can have more. And I'm not sure what the limit is, honestly. It may have to do with like traffic, um, but mine are fairly low traffic, I think, at this point, so it hasn't been a problem so far. But yeah, so if you go to Insert Document, that will allow you to start creating a new object. And this looks pretty funky at first, but really what it's asking for is just a like a key here. So like for example, in my API that I'm building out, it would basically just be like name on the left, and then you put the name of the like the name property then on the right. So sort of like just like a regular object, right? You know, you've got your key on the left of the colon, and then you've got the property on the right. Name, you know, could be anything. Ferengi, right? And then you can add your lines that way. And you can just click the little plus to add additional fields as you go, as you fill them out. And so, and basically, so then once you have one completed object, oh, interesting. I hope I'm not paying for that. Because yeah, I created a new cluster, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe I created just a new project. We can check that. Yeah, sorry, it's a new project, not a new cluster. Yeah. I'm sorry, I misspoke. I'm still learning the terminology for this. But yeah, you can do a new project without having to instantiate a whole new cluster, I think. Yeah, thanks for that, Jenks. You can have multiple projects. There's all this new terminology. Still getting used to it. Yeah, and you can just do a new database as well. You'll just change the connection information. It's not a big deal. Yeah. So you know, yeah, feel free to just create a new database in your existing one, and you'll just change how it connects when we put that code in there. Um, Collections and documents. Yeah, I've got that in there. That's in the brain. That's in the brain box. So yeah, so once you've created your full object, you can just say insert. So for example, you know, I've inserted all of these objects, but I didn't hand code every single one of them. If you want to, you know, once you create one object that has all the fields and the properties that you wanted, you can just say clone, which is this button right here, clone document. You can click that, and then you can basically you'll have all of your keys right here, and then you can just edit the individual properties to match your current object. Yeah. So what I would suggest is that you maybe just make a couple of objects right now. Don't get too crazy. Just make a couple documents right now. Don't get too crazy. Just get it to the point where you're able to test against it. You know, make two or three, and get to the point where you're able to test against it. And then you can always flesh it out later, because I think we're going to learn some programmatic ways of loading data into a Mongo database, so you don't have to do all of it by hand, because that would suck, right? Especially for the folks that have already started building out their, you know, 2,000 line APIs. Oh, thanks, Vero. Have a good coffee chat. So the property names are going to be in quotes automatically. That's just what it does. So you can see, you know, no matter what I type, it's gonna the quotes are hard coded. Um, so the properties are automatically in quotes, no matter how long they are. And so then you know, I built out one and then just used the clone to build out the rest. And until I had all of the objects that were formerly inside of my server.js file inside of Mongo right here. Thanks, Edward. I'm gonna hydrate real quick. Okay, so once you have a couple of objects inside of your MongoDB, database, there's something really important that you have to do. And this is what caused me so much grief earlier today, is that so previously, when we were messing around with Mongo and CRUD, we were really just hitting it kind of locally, right? We were just kind of hitting it from, you know, from a local connection. And so it didn't really matter, but we're going to have to change our network access for our database so that it allows Heroku to actually connect to our database and will allow it to whitelist its API. So in this case, this is super important. So you're going to want to click on network access, and you're going to want to add an IP address. Let's see, or maybe hang on. I'm going to delete this and I'm going to re-add it. Let's see, deploying. Give it a second. Chanpo, did you watch my previous video on or the 6-hour, I know it was a lot, but the 6-hour CRUD app tutorial? That should have helped you set up your first Mongo database. That might be better if you haven't done that yet. Maybe, you know, just that helps you with like the initial setup, whitelisting your IP address, getting your cluster configured and all that. Getting the API on Mongo. Okay, so I'm not quite sure I fully understand the question, Chanpo. Are you talking about setting up a database, or like we're going to be getting the API on Mongo tonight, so we haven't missed it yet. We've just been putting some data on our inside of our Mongo database so that we're ready to hit it when we're ready to make that connection. Yeah. Okay, so super important. Go to network access, go to add IP address, and click allow access from anywhere. You got to do this. You got to do this in order for Heroku to be able to access your database. If you don't, you'll get CORS errors out the wazoo, which is what I did for about 2 hours today. Hey, super cool, dude. So click this, click allow access from anywhere, and it'll change this access list entry and say confirm. So MongoDB, so Atlas is just like a configuration of MongoDB, I think. Not 100% sure. Yeah, had the same issue, took almost all day to figure it out. Yes. And I only figured it out fast enough, like a little bit faster, because Debugging, the wonderful Discord mod, happened to be hanging around and happened to have enough time to give me some of her time to help me out. So yeah, that's, yeah, frustrating as flip. Thanks, Warzone, I'm a SQL developer. Yeah, you're a SQL developer using MongoDB. What? Indeed, I am. It has been a learning curve so far. I'm using Mongo because that's what 100 Devs is using to as part of the curriculum. So I'm working on it. It's it's different. It's different, but not impossible. Okay, so now you should see your IP address and this global access IP. And this is crucial if you actually want Heroku to be able to access your Mongo database. Okay, so I'm only lingering here because I want everybody, even if you weren't paying attention for a minute, I want you to see this and know that you have to have it. Otherwise, you're going to be getting CORS errors out the wazoo a little bit later, and then you're going to be asking, why am I getting CORS errors? And I'm going to say it's because you didn't whitelist all IPs. So, all right, I think we beat this. I think we beat this dead horse enough. We can move on, but. Okay, so we've set up our network access, and now let's go back to our database. And now what we're going to do is we are going to click on the connect button. And what this is going to do is it's going to give us a connection string that we're going to be able to use inside of our app. NoSQL is too complicated. It is. I think it's more flexible, but it's also more complicated than SQL. I agree. Yeah, a database is only responsible for holding data. It will be something else's job to create the accesses to it, which in this case, it's going to be our server side client for that we're going to be hosting on Heroku, which is going to be the one that's dropping in there and fetching data out of our database to throw back to our app. So you can kind of think of it like, you know how like when the UPS guy comes, you don't go out to the UPS guy's truck and like pull packages out of his truck, right? Because you don't know where those packages are and you don't really care. You just want your package, the one that you requested, the one that you ordered. So in this case, you're the client side app, you're the app, and then your server is the UPS guy, and he's the one going out to the truck and, you know, using his little beeper scanner and pulling out just the right box and delivering it back to you. So the truck is the database, right? And so he's going to the database, he's like, beep, boop, get the right package, and then walks it back to you. So you don't have to do that. So we had to copy and paste each line into Mongo collections for now. That's why I said maybe only add a couple of objects for now. Because I know for a fact that there are ways that we can insert data directly into Mongo without having to hard code it. For example, we did a little bit of that in the CRUD tutorial. We did a little bit of an insert one, like we used an insert one method to insert I'm trying to use the right term, a document into our collection at that point. I just didn't have time to do that today. I didn't have time to code it out. Maybe we'll do that on Sunday, depending on what we talk about on Thursday's class. Maybe on Sunday, we'll come up with a way where we can sort of speed up this process of adding objects into our collection. Yeah. And Anthony said, you know, insert many, right? We can insert multiple things at once. We just haven't done that yet. So yeah, I did this manually because my API only has like 6 things in it. So it wasn't too much skin off my nose versus trying to learn something completely new in like 30 minutes. So I'll admit I rushed it a little. All right. So that's where we're at right now. But good questions. Oh, great analogy. Okay, good. I'm glad you like the analogy. That's how I've been thinking of it, is the UPS guy is our server. Oh, no, that's totally fine, Anthony. You're welcome to mention it. I just don't want folks to think that, you know, they missed something. And no, we haven't talked about those insert one, insert many. We haven't really talked about those yet. So it's okay. For now, we're just gonna, you know, copy paste. Yeah, Atlas can handle it, definitely. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to need to obviously connect to this Mongo database, right? So what we're going to want to do is, I don't know if you guys may not remember this from the first CRUD tutorial, but we're going to connect the exact same way that we did before. You can connect your application. So see what I clicked there? I clicked the middle option, connect your application. And what that does is it gives us a connection string. It gives us a connection string that we can simply copy and paste into our code. So that's what we're going to do eventually. You're getting 30-second ads every 5 minutes. That's so weird. I haven't changed my ad settings at all, I promise. I don't know why. I have my ads as minimized as Twitch will let me have them. So I apologize for that. I've turned off ads to the most extent that I possibly can. Very strange. Yeah, some folks don't get any ads at all. Some folks get a ton. So I think it's a Twitch problem, honestly. It's very unfortunate. Yeah, switching to OBS shouldn't have any effect on it either. My ad settings are on the Twitch web client. So okay, so we're going to leave this connection string up for now. And instead, now that we've kind of just set up our basic database, we've added a couple objects maybe, and we've also, most importantly, configured our network access. Now we can go back down into our code and start editing it so that we can actually connect to MongoDB. Mitch, no, I think clusters are like the major parent. They're like the parent to all of your projects and all of your databases. They're like the big, the largest bucket, right? At least the way at least the way I understand it. The cluster is the largest bucket, and then you go down and get more granular from there. So you know you're going down to your projects, you're going down to your databases, you're going down to your cluster or not clusters, collections, and then your documents. So it's all new vocabulary. I'm still learning it. Mm. I'm wearing a NASA shirt today, and I have a NASA mug. I'm repping. Yeah, that's a great explanation there, Anthony. Okay, let's go back to our code. Server.js, let's see, Star Trek API demo. There we go. Ah, beautiful dark mode. Much better. Feels so good. Get out of that light mode. Okay, and now I can't see my chat anymore. Learning curve. All right. So this is our existing, server.js file, right? So what might I need? What's something that I'm going to need to perhaps install in order to have a direct connection to Mongo? DMBO, I did get a new monitor. That's why I had to switch to OBS because Twitch Studio wouldn't recognize my monitor for like the last 2 weeks. So I bit the bullet and I switched to OBS because OBS enjoys and appreciates my new monitor where Twitch Studio did not. Lighting is better too. Oh, that's good. Well, I had this monitor also has HDR, so that probably helps. So I'll ask the question again because I kind of got distracted there. So what might we need to install in order to use Mongo, in order to connect our Heroku app to a Mongo database? Yeah, npm install MongoDB. Yeah, I can zoom in a little bit. There we go. Is that better? Yeah, you can do !GitHub if you need my GitHub, or if you want to download this code. Yep, better? Okay, thanks, Cranberry. Good. Okay. Oh, or Rascal, or there's always Rascal, yes. Okay, so we're gonna need to install MongoDB, npm install MongoDB. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch my terminal from PowerShell, which is the default for me. I'm gonna switch it to Bash. That's what I've been using for most of these projects, and I could probably just set it at the default as the default at this point. But yeah, so I'm using Bash so that I can use, like I can deploy to Heroku and I can do all this stuff that I can't necessarily do in PowerShell. So I'm gonna go ahead and do npm install MongoDB. There we go. Now, if I look at my package.json, yeah, so I should see now I have MongoDB installed along with CORS and Express. So now we can start using some of the methods that are associated with MongoDB that will allow us to make that connection to that MongoDB database. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and actually minimize my array of aliens here because we won't be needing it pretty soon. So I'm just going to go ahead and minimize this using the little down arrow here. Makes it a little cleaner. Minimize that. And now up here in my consts, in my variables, I'm going to actually add my, I'm going to go ahead and require MongoDB. So I'm going to say const. Ugh, can't spell either, as always. I need channel points for that. Or I need a sound alert for that. Can't spell. Mongo client. I'm going to call it Mongo client. And I'm going to say require MongoDB. just like that. And then the last thing I have to do is say require MongoDB dot Mongo client. There we go. And that'll allow us to just go ahead and establish that connection. And I still have my port, so that's good. Yeah, what does the CORS module do again? So that it's supposed to help sort of these like um, like cross domain requests to not be blocked. It's like a security feature, but if you of course want to make requests from domain to domain, like we're doing when we're jumping all around trying to get data from different locations and send data to other places, it can cause problems. And so we're just using CORS to kind of bypass that error. Yeah, it turns off CORS. And theoretically, it turns off CORS errors for your server. However, if you don't have all IP addresses whitelisted on your Mongo database, then it's not going to do squat, as I learned earlier today for several hours. Yeah. Okay, so we have our CORS. And so the last thing we're going to need here is we said require MongoDB, but now we also need to tell Mongo where it's supposed to be trying to connect to, right? We need that connection information. And so what we're going to need to do is we're going to go ahead and define our connection string. Const connection string. And here is where we're going to paste that big long string that we were looking at in our browser. So white screen warning. I'm warning you in advance. Screen's going to go white. Wow. All right. And we're going to go ahead and copy. We're going to go ahead and copy this connection string. And we're going to paste it into our connection string variable here. And this needs to be, it's a string, right? So it needs to be in quotes. My eyes. Oh yeah, that was a good question. Somebody asked, what's the difference between npm install MongoDB and npm install MongoDB -- save? That's a really great question. So yeah, and like Anthony said, it's no longer required. It used to be that you had to do that -- save, and I think Leon even still does that. And in like the Zell tutorial still did that too. But I think in newer versions of Express, you don't even need that anymore. You can just be like npm install whatever, and then it knows, yeah, I'm supposed to save it. I think you still have to do the save if you want to like save it as dev, like we do for NodeMon. But other than that, you just do npm install whatever, and you can install whatever you would like. All right. Okay, const connection string, and you can just paste the connection string here, and then right here is where you put the password. And so I'm sure eventually we're going to be saving this in its own folder. Right now we are not, but this is where you're going to dump the password for your connection. So in my case, I'm gonna change this anyway. It's got 6 things in it. I'm just gonna paste it in here. But just replace this password caret, replace that with your actual password. And that's ready to use. Turkey, you can do nesting. So you mean in Mongo, are you saying you want to do nested objects in Mongo? I'm assuming that's what you're asking about, Turkey. Yes, you can. I was actually looking at that a little bit earlier today. I wanted to try it out, but I really didn't have time. But yes, you can, and I've seen people do it. I've seen some people use it like an array, so they'll have like the key name, and they have like an array, and they have their sub objects inside of that array. Some folks, it looks like that you can do it without an array. I'm not sure which is best, but yes, you can. It might be something to explore. Yeah. Yeah, we're not going to be using an environmental variable. However, there was Cranberry. You actually had that really good article. I think that did it like in the command line. So feel free to share that in chat if you're still around. That might be an alternate way to do it. So we're going to do it the Zell way for now, but I'm sure we'll learn a ton of different ways to finesse these things, and you'll learn your preferences and everything. Okay, so we've got our connection string. Now let's see, what do we need to do? Also, another thing that you may want to include as well is express.json, because we're going to be sending back, we're going to want to make sure that our client-side app is going to be able to handle, that our server is going to be able to handle what it's getting back from the database and send it back to our client-side app in a way that it understands. So I'm not sure if this is entirely necessary, but during the troubleshooting process, we added it. So I'm going to add it here. So I'm just going to say app.use express.json. That's just some middleware. We talked about middleware a little bit on Tuesday, and it just helps, facilitate communication back and forth. And so I don't think it's going to hurt to put it in. So use express.json. And there we go. Okay, so we can go ahead and skip. I'm actually just going to go ahead and comment out our alien array for now, our alien object for now. And then we're actually going to set up our connection to MongoDB. So I have right here, I have my two app.get requests. I have my two app.get requests that before they were just hitting, they were going from they were essentially just taking our requests from our client-side app, right? Our client-side app was requesting something, and it was sending a URL with either a slash at the end or API/alien name. And this URL got passed whenever we actually typed something into that input box and clicked, get info. That's when it would pass this URL, and then our server.js file would be like, oh yeah, I know what to do there. I'm going to just go ahead and look inside my list of aliens that's right up here, and I'm going to toss some data back. Well, now instead, what we're going to want to do is have it hit our Mongo database instead. Say, okay, well, I'm going to get this URL. I'm going to pull out this alien name, and I'm going to say, hey Mongo, hey, do I have anything like that in the truck? Do I have any Vulcans in my truck? Gonna go look in the truck and scan around and see if it can find something. So we're gonna edit this a little bit, but for now we want to make sure that we enclose both of these requests inside of our Mongo. And actually, I think when I did it, I actually didn't. I only included this particular request inside of my Mongo connection. I'm not sure what this would do if we tried to include this. It's not really going to matter, but we'll try to include them both and see what happens. I don't know, might break, who knows. Yeah. Some discussion going back and forth. Installed Don't Envy model like Leon used yesterday. Yeah, so Cranberry, I actually missed class yesterday for the first time ever. So I am a little bit behind. So I apologize if there's, some critical tool that I'm actually missing here, because I've only gotten through about like half of the last night's VOD because I had to, go to work and then get ready for this. But yeah, so I missed class for the first time yesterday because I was at a baseball game with my coworkers. It was fun. Yeah. But I still felt bad about missing class. I never miss class. All right, so we're gonna want to go ahead and actually set up our Mongo connection. So remember earlier, whoop, hey, what? All right, that's weird. That just like suddenly maximized itself. Sorry about that. Minimize again. I must have bumped something. It's okay. All right, so okay, I type MON and it maximizes itself, so I don't even know. We're gonna leave that maximized, just comment it out. VS Code, what are you even doing? All right. Yeah, I know there is a break coming up, yeah. It's gonna be pretty awesome. Okay, so Mongo client. Remember we declared Mongo client variable earlier, so it's just an alias. So we can just say Mongo client. Express is so nice, right? We can just tell it what we want to do. We want to connect to Mongo, so we say Mongo client.connect. And in there, we're going to need to pass in our connection string, which we pasted earlier. And we're also going to want to have a couple of additional properties here. So the first one we're going to say is use unified topology. I did have baseball fun, that's right. And then we're going to set that to true. Use unified topology equals true. And then the second one, which Debugging just told me about like an hour ago, is use new URL parser. And I have no idea what either of these do, but they seem to work, so I'm including them, right? It's just Legos. We don't have to know what everything does yet. We can just dump it in there and watch it work. So that's what I'm doing right now. All right, we're dumping our Legos on into our app, and we're making them work. All right, now this Mongo client.connect. Let's see if I can get it to come up again here. Come on. It said what I was wanting to see is client.connect. Wanted to tell me. So earlier it said it reminded me that this is actually a promise. And so if we are starting a promise, we need to make sure that we're able to, to do something with what comes back from that promise. And so if I start a promise, what should I say after that promise is started to continue it, to do something with the result of what comes back once that promise is completed in some way? What should I include next if I'm starting a promise? Oh, Anthony, if you have the newest Mongo version, those options are deprecated. They won't hurt anything, but just to put that out there. Okay, good to know. Yeah, Jenna, I haven't needed that .env or whatever. That my Heroku app with the MongoDB backend worked just fine without any of that stuff. So again, if I'm starting a promise, yeah, exactly, multi. Yeah. So if I'm starting a promise, I need to tell it what to do next. So I'm going to say then. And in this case, once I've established my connection, I can just say like client. And so now, because now it should have a connection to whatever client I specified via that connection string. So I can say client and pass that in as a parameter to a new arrow function. And for now, I'm going to console log. I'm going to have it console log a message so that I know for sure when I'm connected to the database or not. So console log connected to database. Okay. And I'm also going to set which database I'm actually connecting to. So we know that when we connected to that using that connection string, we like connected to our larger project. And as our projects get bigger and more complicated, we could have 5 or 6 or 7 different databases inside of our project and many different collections inside of those databases. So we have to specify which one we're connecting to and tell it exactly where to go to get the data that we want. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good question. So okay, so let's try that without then Anthony. We're gonna go ahead and remove use unified topology and URL parser completely and just see if it works. And we're gonna test this using Postman before we even try to push it up to Heroku. So we're gonna test all this using Postman. And so we'll just do connection string. That's nice and convenient. I really like that. Very nice. All right, I should have the most recent version of Mongo, so I don't know why I wouldn't. All right, so we're going to console log connected to database, and then we're going to specify what database we're connecting to. So we can say const db equals client.db, and we're going to specify that we want to connect to the Star Trek API database, which is what I called mine. You may have called yours something different, so just connect to whatever you named your database that you want to connect to. All right, and then I have to also specify which collection I want to connect to. Const info collection equals database dot collection, and mine is called alien info. Anthony, watch me be wrong. That's okay. That is why we test stuff in Postman. Exactly. That's why Leon wants us all get used to using Postman, because we can test this stuff and see what we get back. So no big deal. I mean, I'm curious to try it because this looks so much better than all that other junk. All right, thanks, Anthony. Anthony, drops the knowledge, drops the mic, and leaves. Nice. Thanks, Anthony. Appreciate you helping out. Okay, so we're connecting to our database, which is Star Trek API, and then we're connecting to the collection inside of that database, which is alien info. All right. Did I use dash on the Star Trek to fill? That's actually how I named it. I did Star dash Trek dash API. Yeah. Okay. So now inside of our then, so I'm going to get rid of these closing brackets here because we want our GET requests to be inside of our then. I'm going to tab these in a little bit. Okay. And yeah. So we're going to put our GET requests inside of our then and enclose those inside the closing parentheses. Okay. Is Star Trek API the one that is 6 hours long? No, the one that's 6 hours long is the ZelWK CRUD app tutorial. It's like a start to finish. It's intense. We're actually sort of modifying the Star Trek API because with the Star Trek API, we didn't actually go all the way to Mongo the first time that we did it. Now we're modifying it to go all the way to Mongo, to go from client to server to Mongo. So I said it's like the 6 hour stream, but I'm splitting it into two here. We're the first one we did was 3.5 hours, and this is probably going to be at least another couple hours. Yeah. But good question, Fidecha. I know it's hard to tell these apart sometimes, but the original video for the Star Trek API is the one that's called Field Guide to Aliens on my Twitch VOD list. Okay, so we now have our GET requests enclosed inside of our connect and our then. And so the last thing that we can do here after our then is we can go ahead and just apply a catch as well. So if there's any errors, we want to be able to see them. So we're going to add a catch statement, and we can just say error, and console log that error. In this case, we can just say console error, and it should log it, as I have seen many errors today. So it seems to be working. Hey, piece of shoot, welcome. Piece of shoot, tonight we're taking our Star Trek API and we are building it out to include a MongoDB backend. So a little fancier, a little cleaner, hopefully works just as well. And actually, too, I found that once I moved my API stuff to Mongo, it seems to be responding faster. Like my API or my app seems to be able to bring back data faster now that it's not hard coded inside of my server.js file. It seems to be able to fetch it faster. I don't know, maybe it's just a myth, maybe it's not true, but it seems faster now. So, and I can still keep the existing app.listen statement. It's letting Heroku pick the port, and it just tells me the server is running if the server is running. So now we're going to take a break here in about 5 minutes, but moment of truth, we're going to test this in Postman and see if we can fetch data manually from our MongoDB backend. So we're going to go ahead and just run this. We're going to run this server.js on a local, just a local host, local server, like we've done a bunch of times before. And then we're going to see if it's able to fetch from our MongoDB. See if I missed anything. Nice, it'll be scalable. Exactly, that's what we're going for, piece of shoot. We're trying to make this scalable, and that's a great word, right? Because if it's a small API, yeah, you could put 1 or 2 lines inside your server.js, but once you start getting to 50 or 100 or 1,000 lines, that's just not feasible to all be sitting inside of a server.js file, right? You need that in a database, something that's scalable and searchable. So that's what we're trying to do here tonight. All right, so I've saved it. Now I'm not even going to bother with NodeMon or anything like that. I'm just gonna run it, and we can do that by a couple different ways, right? But I'm going to do it just by saying npm start. Server is running. Good deal. Okay. So now let's go ahead and open up Postman and see if we can test it. All right, I've got, and again, I'm sorry, white screen warning coming up. It's Postman. It's going to be bright. Postman, does Postman have a dark mode? Or dark mode? Maybe I can switch to it over break. It does? Oh, well, let's fix that right now. Okay, great. It does have dark mode. Okay, good. Is it in settings? I assume so. Themes? Hey, dark mode. Beautiful dark mode. Ah, feels so good. I found it. Yes. Glorious. All right, good deal. Okay, I can zoom in a little bit. Maybe. There we go. Let me make this bigger. There. Okay. So my server is running, and I should have said what port it's running on. I believe it's on 8000. So this original test, this was from earlier today, but we can try this again and see if it's able to actually, and also too, another thing to look out for too, to see, are we being successful? Were we able to connect to our MongoDB? Look down here in my terminal. So let's forget Postman for just 1 second. It says server is running. And the second thing it says is connected to database. And remember, that was the string that we told it to print, assuming it was able to connect to Mongo. And so we have an active connection to our database, which is awesome, right? We're reaching through the ether all the way into a Mongo database, which is pretty cool in my opinion. All right, but let's test this formally. Let's see if we can actually do a formal get against a specific alien from inside of our Mongo database. All right, we'll send this request. Oh, aliens is not defined. Okay, all right, that's fine. I must have, oh, you know what I didn't do? I set up the connection, but I didn't change my app.get to actually try to get the right thing. So, red alert, Vulcan's in the database. I would be more worried about the Borg in the database, honestly. I feel like the Borg could do a lot of damage to a database. I don't know. I think they would be the worst. So I know what's wrong, and so we can fix it. Hello, darkness, my old friend, indeed. Dark mode is always the best. I don't know. All right. So let's look back here at our alien name request. Okay, so request response. We've defined our alien. So we've defined this variable alien's name as basically whatever is being passed in. So it's going to grab whatever we send in from the URL, and it's going to pull that out and get ready to look it up against the database. So that's fine. We don't need to change anything here. We're just saying, hey, look at this URL, get the parameter that's called alien name, change it to lowercase, and assign it to this variable. So all that's fine. Nothing changes there. Now, we need to make some changes here though. All right, so instead of looking inside of an array that's already inside of our current file where we are right now, instead of server.js, we need to make sure we're actually looking inside of our database instead for that information. Now, earlier we actually defined a variable that's going to help us do that. So we defined the specific collection that we want to look in. Remember, we have databases, and then we have collections inside of those databases. And inside of those collections is where we actually have our documents or our objects, right? So we want to look inside of the collection called alien info. And so what we can just say there is, I'm actually just going to get rid of all this for now. I just got rid of that entire if statement, and we're going to replace it. So I'm going to say info collection, because I want to look inside of my collection only and get something out of it. I'm going to say info collection dot find, just like the UPS guy is going digging around in his truck. We're going to go ahead and find something inside of this collection. So in this case, I'm checking my collection against the name of the alien that I want to locate. So in this case, I can just say find name, where name is essentially equal to alien's name. So it's gonna get that name that we pull out of our URL and say, hey, go into the database, go into that collection, and find essentially an object where the name is equivalent to alien name. So whether that's Vulcans or humans or whatever. And we're going to have it bring back that entire object. So we can say info collection.find, and I'm going to go ahead and convert it into an array. Not entirely sure if that's necessary, but that seemed to work, so that's what I'm doing here. That's also, I think, what's done in the CRUD tutorial as well, so I just kind of copied that. So we can put it into an array, and then, so find to array, yep. And then, this is actually a promise. We went off, and we found some stuff, and it's a promise, and so we need to do something with that promise. And so we're going to say then results. Take the results of that, whatever it found, take the results. We're going to console log it because we like to console log things. Console log the results. I'm also, but I don't just want to console log stuff. I also want to actually send a response back so that my client-side app can actually use what we found, right? So does anybody know how I can take the response and turn it into JSON using Express? Anybody know how I can do that? Take a response and turn it into JSON. You don't got to think too hard. We don't even have to render it. We're not using EJS here actually at all. We're not using any EJS. We're just dropping them into existing DOM elements. So we don't even need to make any modifications to our HTML. Yeah, response.json, right? It's so easy. You say, hey, I want my response to look like JSON. And Express is like, yeah, bro, I got you. I'm going to take your response. I'm going to turn it into JSON for you because I like you. No, that's totally fine, piece of shoot. Yeah, I know we just talked about EJS yesterday, right? The EJS was part of the discussion, but in this app, we're just it's always the same data coming back every time. So we just have some existing DOM elements and we don't need EJS for that. Yeah. All right, so we can just say response.json. Response.json, and we're taking the results. And when Diviker was helping me earlier, they had me go ahead and just say like index 0. I didn't try it without. So, but essentially what we're getting back is an array, and it should be an array of like one item, right? We're getting one object back and we're wrapping it in an array, and we just want to make sure that we're getting that first item. So it's not going to hurt anything to just go ahead and put index 0 on there as well. But you can try it without and see what happens if you want. Okay. And the last thing we're going to do is we're also just going to add a quick catch here in case we get any errors. We want to see what those are. So we can say catch error, and we can make sure that error prints to the console. Console error. All right. And I just have some stuff coming in. Let's see. Make sure I get that. Twisted, what are you mentioning there? All right, so now let's try this again, right? So now we're actually telling our server.js file to go and hit the database rather than the local array and see what it can find. Go out to the truck, see if the package is there. Use your little barcode BP scanner thing and see if you can find what we want. Oh, stretch, okay. 1 second, let me save this, otherwise I'll forget. I'm gonna stretch. Oh, thanks, Deb. Thank you so much. Yeah, feel free to catch the VOD. That's why they're there. And I'm also thinking about, like I mentioned, for folks that are overseas, maybe I am thinking about moving my Sunday streams up to be much earlier, just to help facilitate those folks who cannot physically catch my VODs live because they happen at like 2 in the morning for them. So um, I'm hoping that maybe moving my streams a little earlier will be helpful for overseas friends. So. But I'll announce that I'll change my Twitch schedule. When I do that, I'll change my Twitch schedule, and I will also say something on Twitter. Make sure everybody's aware. But thank you again, Dab. That's much appreciated. All right, so we've saved this. Now let's try Postman again, and we'll see if it works, and then we'll take a break, okay? Because it's almost break time. All right, localhost 8000. Oh, I need to also restart my server. 1 second. Don't forget to restart your server if you're not using NodeMon. Gonna kill my server, Control C. Thanks, folks. Thanks, everyone. And I'm gonna go npm start, and we're gonna restart the server. Server is running. Now watch. Don't forget to watch and make sure that your database connection gets established. So the server's running, but it's still working to connect to the database. So let's give it a second. There we go. Connected to database, and it's ready to go. Y'all are funny. Okay. All right, so we're connected to the database. Now let's test Postman. Localhost 8000, API, Vulkans, and let's send it and see what we get. Hey, look at that. Look what we got. Look it. We got such a pretty object. We got such a pretty object. We got an object, and we can tell that it's coming from the database because it has this funky ID number at the top. We got this funky MongoDB ID, so that tells us for reals that we didn't screw up, that we actually reached all the way from our computer all the way out into a Mongo database, and we grabbed an object. Or essentially what we did was we had our UPS guy go out to the truck, and his little beeper was able to scan something and bring it back to us, which is pretty cool, no matter how you slice it. First try, indeed. What does something like, let's see, what is it? Yeah. Figuring out errors. So, yeah, I do want, I'll probably address that when we get back from break about the importance of troubleshooting. And that is a huge skill for devs to have. Absolutely. And I'm not going to say that I fixed this on my own. I didn't. Diviker, the wonderful, wonderful Diviker, and we spent probably like an hour troubleshooting it, just all the things that I was trying to figure out, but we were able to work together, communicate back and forth, and just pound through the issues until we figured it out. So troubleshooting is hugely important, to not get frustrated, to, do a give and take with the person you're working with. Yeah, troubleshooting is really important. Bodega asks, not sure if anybody can ask and feel like it's a simple question. What does something like response.json with a parameter do? Why are we passing a parameter to the JSON function? Yeah, so what that's doing is it's saying, all right, because if we look at this here, right, we went out to our collection, we went out to our MongoDB collection, right? And we said, hey, go get some stuff. Go get the thing that we're looking for. And so it brings it back and it says, all right, I have your box, I have your package. Where do you want me to put it? Do you want me to put it on the porch? Do you want me to give it to you? Do you need to sign for it? Like what needs to happen now? So it's holding this. It's like, all right, what do I do now? What do you want from me? So we say, all right, Mr. UPS man, take that package, which is the results. This is our package right here. Results. Take that. First console log it so we can see what we got. And then take those results and turn them into JSON and send them back. Give them to the client. Just give me the package, sir. Please just give it to me. I'll handle it from here. So we're just saying, hey, take those results, turn them into JSON, and pitch them back to our app, to our client side app. So if it was the UPS guy, just be like, hey, dude, don't worry about it. I'm right here. Just give it to me. And well, first turn it into JSON and then give it to me. Oh, thank you, Bodega Pat. Much appreciated. I love it. I love when people spend Jeff Bezos' money. I don't care who you're spending it on. Just spend some of his money, please. Yeah, if you're coding along, let's try removing this. There's no harm in that. Because I was thinking maybe it would work without it, but honestly I didn't try. So let's see what happens. I know we need to do a break, but I just really want to try this real quick. All right, so I'm gonna kill my server here. And I'm gonna restart. npm start. I feel like we're having fun, so I'm keeping it going. All right. Oh, thank you so much, Sengiz. Much appreciated. Yeah, so I am I'm a SQL dev, actually. I don't know, did you do SQL, Sengiz? Sengiz, I'm sorry. Did you do SQL? Because yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I don't have 17 years of experience, but yeah, I'm a SQL dev, trying to learn Mongo and all this web app stuff, and it's been a trip, I tell you what. All right, so we're connected to the database. Now we're going to try it again without that little extra qualifier there. We're just going to do the same request and we'll see what we get back. Okay, so slightly different now. See what's the difference here, right? We still got our information back, but instead we got it with the array brackets around it. So not a big deal, but I guess, just selecting that index 0 just gets rid of those array brackets for us, so we just have this nice object. Now, the second question is, do we need this to array right here? We could try it without and see what we get. So last thing, I keep saying that. Just gonna try this. So we just took off that to array, and now let's see what we get. No, okay, so yeah, this is what I encountered earlier. If you don't turn it into an array, it's not going to come back. So that's why we did that. Yeah, let's find out together. Indeed, we did. We found out it doesn't work. Oh, it didn't connect yet. Okay, let's try it again. That's all right. It takes a minute. Sometimes I jump the gun. So, nope, it doesn't. Because it can't do the find. If it's not an array, it's not able to do the find. Yeah. I encountered this earlier. There may be a better way, but for me anyway, the easiest way was to just do find dot to array and then just take the results and get rid of the array brackets by just grabbing index 0. Is it the best way? I don't know. Does it work? Yeah. So there we go. So this does work. But I'm sure one of you clever people will find a better way. This is just my janky workaround way. You know how I like to write spaghetti and then I like to throw it at the wall and see what sticks. So that's what we're doing. Dang it, I survived Oracle PL SQL. Oh, I'm working in Oracle PL SQL right now. I feel you, buddy. I do. That's what my current employer uses. Fun stuff. MySQL, Cassandra, MS SQL, and many others. Yeah, it's awesome. I've done a little bit of T-SQL as well, but Spaghetti Code is best code. Yeah. All right, let's take our long overdue break. 5 minutes. Go get a drink of water or whatever you need to do, and then we will come back. I'm feeling good. This is working. We're getting data back. We are getting data back from our database. So after the break, we're going to push it up to Heroku, and then we're going to try it again. Make sure it still works after we push it to Heroku, because that's very possible that things can break. And then after that, we'll modify. We'll make sure that we can actually get stuff into our client side app from our Heroku database. Find returns a cursor. Oh yeah, that's right. I think there was something about that in the Zell tutorial as well. The Zell WK tutorial about it turning it into a cursor, and so it can't. What do I do? Oh. And then we have to turn it into an array in order to make it manageable. So yeah. All right, let's go ahead and I'll get the timer going up here, and we can get our break on. All right. 5-minute timer. Of course, I have it open in a tab somewhere. I have no idea where. All right, 5-minute timer. Go ahead, and I will see you all back here shortly. Jackrid and Nene, did you actually add some objects to your MongoDB? Did you actually add like some items in your collection? Because there needs to be something in there for it to bring something back. And whatever it brings back also needs to have a matching name for what you send in. So if I send in the word Vulcans, there needs to be a Vulcan object in the database that it can match to. All right, I'll be back in a few. Okay, folks, we got about a minute left. Start coming on back, and I will see you here shortly. Sorry, it does help if I unmute, and it's easier for y'all to hear me if I'm not on mute. That's generally helpful, I would think. So sorry. I know. Thanks, Rascal. Yeah, think I sorted it out. So some folks were having issues with potentially getting empty arrays back, or something like that. So a couple things to check, right, is to make sure so in Postman, make sure that what the thing that you're trying to get. Whoa, whoa, say what? Sangus, thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Holy cannoli. What is happening? Thank you so much. Wow. I think I think there's gonna be a bunch of sub alerts that might start popping up. I apologize. Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Sengiz. Again, my goodness. That's incredible. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, I will never stop learning. I always like to learn. If I don't start learning, I start to feel like all sad and stuff. So I got to keep learning. Yep, that's how I roll. Wolfpack go burr, indeed. Yes. You're doing the bot at 1.5x to catch up. That's awesome. Wow. So yeah, I think those alerts are going to be popping up for a little bit. So yeah, bask in the glory of all these wonderful 20 gifted subs. My goodness. Thank you so much again. Can't thank you enough. All right. So if you're getting an empty array, a couple things to check. So the first thing is to check if you're using Postman, see if the URL you're trying to hit actually exists. So if I'm trying to hit Vulcans in my database, I need to have an object in there that's called Vulcans, right? Otherwise, it's not going to find anything. The UPS guy's going to be like, nope, I don't got your package anywhere. So make sure that this is valid, what you're trying to bring back. Other than that, also make sure that you actually do have objects in your database for it to find. And double check. Let's see, what else can we double check? Check the also check the console and see if anything logged there. If it maybe you didn't, something's wrong in your response, but see if it even was able to console log any results. That might help as well. Line 73. So that's the database. So make sure that your database name is valid. So if you're getting an error on line 73, for me anyway, that's where we declare this database variable. So client.db Star Trek API. Yeah, make sure that your database name and collection names match those in MongoDB. Exactly, Amila. I'm going to go ahead and let's see, just mute the widgets just for a minute. I appreciate seeing all those pop up, but I don't want the sound to be distracting. Well, okay, it looks like the sound is still going to go anyway, so it doesn't matter. You get to see it. Get to see all those gifted subs pop in there. Yeah, Chris. Yeah, absolutely. Sengiz just blew us all away. So cool. So all right, so those are a few things to check. Make sure that you're double check that, because these are like this is my database name, right? Star Trek API. That's my database. And this is my collection name as well. Yours may be different, so make sure that they're correct. Let's see, other than that, just make sure that you're checking the right thing in Postman. Hey, Imbastios. Oh, Miguel, thank you for the sub. Wow, y'all are turning out tonight. I love y'all. Okay, so let's see what else. So we've got this working anyway. So I'm gonna kill the server. I'm gonna run it one more time just to double check, and then next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna push it up to Heroku. All right, server is running. This time I'm gonna wait for it to actually connect to the database. And we're gonna open Postman again. And we're gonna see if we can pull back some Vulcans. Hey, there we go. We got them back. Good deal. Okay. Let's try one more. Let's try humans. There we go. Yep, we got our humans back as well. So I think we're good to go. I think we're good to go ahead and push it up, try to push it up to Heroku. And we can also see that the same data is being logged inside the console down here as well, just as a double confirmation for us. Hey, welcome, Redev. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop my server. So how are folks doing? Did some folks get this to work properly? Or is everybody having trouble? Or did some, I know there's some folks that are struggling with it a little bit, but if you are, don't worry about it too much because like we haven't even talked about this in class, right? We talked about it in sort of a general sense, like just Leon talking while everybody kind of listened, right? But I think on Thursday's class, we're really going to walk through it. We're going to, do it end to end for realsies. And so don't worry if you're not able to get it to work. Yeah, don't panic too much, Champo. I think Leon's gonna do a full walkthrough um, on Thursday with the code and everything. Oh, you got yours working, Redev. That's awesome. Well, what error did you get, Chanpo? Well, I mean, we can we can see what error it is and see if maybe it's something we can resolve. But don't get too freaked out because, like I said, I'm a little ahead of class here on this, but that's okay. All right, so let's go ahead and see if we can push to Heroku. And I already pushed this app to Heroku once, so I already kind of have this like I have the Heroku connection set up, right? You can see that over here on the left side, I have my proc file. It already exists. So if you watch the original video where we built this app, we did do a Heroku push. So we're not going to do the initial setup because we've already done it. We don't need to. Um, oh yeah, Chenpo. So um, connection. What's your connection string, Chenpo? It needs to be something that looks like. Let me scroll back past this. It needs to be something like this. Did you copy the connection string from inside of Mongo? When we said so in your Mongo you say connect and then you copy you got to copy the connection string from there. um, yeah, because it's not getting what it expects. Yeah. Hey, Nene, you got it working. That's rad. Nice. Yeah, 420. We haven't actually learned how to do that yet, so we're just sticking with it. We're just sticking with it in the raw code right now. But yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a Heroku push. So in order to push to Heroku, what's the first thing I need to do? Before I can say get push Heroku, what do I need to do? Well, theoretically, I may already be logged in. I was still logged in on my other file. So Heroku login, yeah, we can go ahead and do that. I don't think it's gonna hurt anything. Okay, log in. Oh, my session has expired. Huh. My other version of this let me just log right in, but it's all good. All right, y'all don't get to see my password, unlike my Mongo. And I got to do my verification code, which is where's my phone? I might have to run to the other room and get my phone. Sorry, folks. I have two-factor authentication set up. I do not have my phone, so 2 seconds. All right, and we're back. I found my phone. It's all good. Should be able to log in now. All right, where's that browser window? There it is. Okay. Gonna open my authentication client and Heroku and type in the code. Verify. Yay, I'm logged in. Okay, and now we can see that my terminal is now reflecting that I am logged in. So, oh, you had capital H for humans. Oh no. That'll get you. Yeah, because in the, we're converting to lowercase in general, so it's looking for lowercase values. Yeah. All right, so we're logged in. Now, remember that we are using Git to communicate back and forth with Heroku, right? We're using Git, Git, the usual software or the usual client that we use to push up to GitHub. However, in this case, we aren't pushing to GitHub. We are pushing to Heroku instead. However, the overall process is still the same. I first need to commit to my local repository before I can commit this to Heroku. So I'm going to just go ahead and say git add dot, like we would normally do. Oh, and I forgot my git ignore. It's all right. So normally we would want to put all of our node stuff in git ignore, but I'm living dangerously. So, and so we did git add, and then we're going to do git commit -m, and I'm just going to say added Mongo connection. All right. And that should commit. And then the last thing I need to do is I need to actually push to Heroku. And in order to do that, all I need to say is git push Heroku. Now, the Klingons would be proud of your bravery, Code Rory. Now, the only reason I'm able to just straight up do git push Heroku is because when we built this app the first time around, we already created our Heroku endpoint, our Heroku cloud version of this. So I'm able to still push back up to that theoretically. Oh, we got posture check, we got hydrate. I'll do that in just 1 second. Let me push this up. There we go. Writing our objects. Building, doing things. Pushing, pushing. All the way up to Heroku. Hooray. Got the hydrate. Nice cold tea. All right. That's a nice big push. With all my node modules in there. All right. We have pushed it to Heroku. Hooray. Now what? Okay, so what does that mean, right? Now, well, that means that we've pushed our server.js all the way up to Heroku, and Heroku is theoretically now going to be able to handle requests from our client-side app or any app that decides to hit that API. So now we could have, 50,000 records in that Mongo database. And our Heroku, our server, our Heroku server is going to be able to say, our API, contact point is going to be able to say, oh yeah, you want, the, I don't know, some obscure alien from Star Trek. You want the species 8472. And it's going to be able to go over to that database, to that truck that is now massive. It's a warehouse now. It's going to be able to go in there, just pluck out what we need and pass it back to our app. And theoretically, anybody in the whole world could hit that app. And so apps like the Pokemon and those giant ones, the APIs like the Pokemon API and all those big giant ones, obviously they're not hosting all that stuff inside of, a server.js file, right? It's in a big database, and then they just have this API endpoint that can just kind of go in there and be like, yeah, I got what you need, and toss it right back to you. So anybody and their mother can now hit this Heroku server to grab some Star Trek data if they would like to. Theoretically, we're going to test it now. Okay, so now that I've done this, I really don't need this file anymore. We don't need to run our server locally because now it's running on Heroku. We've pushed it out. Heroku is like, I got this, bro. I can handle this for you. Oh, and I didn't do posture check either. Sorry. Standing up straight, not slouching. Thank you very much. All right. So now Heroku's got our back. So I'm going to go ahead and just minimize this because we don't need it right now. So I need to pull back up my client-side app, which is somewhere. Let's see. That's not it. Where is it? Do I even have it open? Star Trek API demo. No, I don't. Hang on. I need to even open it. New window, open folder, Star Trek app demo. Open. There we go. Okay, so the app itself is fairly simple. The styling is complex, but the way it works is really, really simple. The way it works is just, it says, hey, go out to this API, Star Trek API demo at herokuapp.com, and pass an alien name up there in the URL, await some data, console log that data, and then parse that data out and grab various components and apply them to specific elements in the DOM. And that's really all that the JavaScript is doing. The rest is just pretty styles, right? The rest is just, the template that I'm using. The actual behavior of this is dead simple. We're not even using EJS here. We're just saying, all right, get some data, go hit an API, get some data, and drop it in the DOM, please. And that's all that does. So we're going to go ahead and just go live and see if we can still hit our existing Heroku API. We don't need to that's the cool thing. All these changes that we've made so far using Mongo and stuff, they don't affect our client-side app at all. That's the wild thing, right? None of this affects what our customers, let's say, in this case, the customer is ourselves, but in most cases it won't be, right? You're going to have a customer that is going to have like apps and other client-side tools that they're going to expect to just work. So when you make changes on the back end, you want them to be, invisible to the customer if at all possible. That's not always possible, but in this case it is, right? Because we're just moving the chess pieces on the back end, and it shouldn't be visible at all to our customer. But we're gonna see. I may have spoken too soon. All right. So we're just gonna YOLO this, and we're gonna go live. All right. So this is my app here, and it is now live in our, I just did a live server there. And so let's just see if we can bring back some information on the humans. Get info. Oh, first try, baby. Oh boy, that's awesome. I was not expecting that to work first try. All right, so yeah, seamless indeed, right? That's the point, right? That's the point, is especially so being a backend like dev, my goal is that when I make changes that I don't want the customer to know about, they shouldn't know about them. They should never know that I have touched anything. If I do my job right, they won't know anything that's happened. They might say, oh, that thing ran a little bit faster today. And I'm like, yes, because I did something, and they shouldn't notice anything at all. So as a backend dev, that's the best feeling in the world. When you change something, it improves something, and the customer is none the wiser. So I'm happy this worked. All right, let's try Vulcans. And look how fast it is now. For those of you who are on my last stream, is that not seem faster? Let's do Gorn. It's zippy. I think it's faster now that it's hosted on Mongo. Yeah, right? I think it is. Yeah. I think something about it, like having to search Heroku having to search the array inside of its own file, I think was slowing it down. And now that it can just zip right out to Mongo and just grab what it needs without having to get it out of an array. I don't know, maybe I know nothing about how that works, but it seems definitely faster now. Yeah, definitely faster. Don't do drop table in SQL, I hear. Yes, that is a bad idea. Or if you're gonna drop something, wrap it in a commit block, and so that way you can roll it back if you need to. Gorn, let's see, we got the Borg. Yeah, zippy pippy. Very, very, very zippy indeed. Yeah. So I'm really happy this worked. Honestly, I wasn't expecting this. I was expecting us to have to do some live troubleshooting. But hey, go us, I guess. And so now that we've got this working, right? Now we have the freedom. We have freedom to go back to our Mongo database and just add whatever the heck we want. Add, 200, 500 entries, because now we know that our Heroku, can handle those types of requests from our apps. So Heroku is set up to handle it now. It knows where to go to get the information that it needs, how to bring it back, how to send it back to our app, and we could build different apps that hit it in different ways, for that serve different purposes. We could add more fields to the database. Um, it's set it can this is we can build anything we want now, honestly. It's scary if it works the first time, like I mentioned. Yeah, it is a little scary. But to be fair, this is not, like I said, this was after like 2 hours of troubleshooting on my own, and then another hour with Debugging, to actually figure out what I was doing wrong, which was the entire the whole like whitelisting IPs thing. So if you misspell something, would it be simple to add a did you mean? Yeah, in your server.js file, you could add like an if statement that says like if you could say like if alien name, I don't know if you could have like a little like an array of similar like things that are maybe slightly misspelled that people are going to mess up a lot. You could have like an array of those, and if it's in that array, you could send back the message to be like, did you mean Vulcans rather than Vulcans or something, and then they could retype it. So yeah, you could have some error handling there. Right now, we really don't have any error handling or any like very much sanitizing other than just a lowercase. So yeah, you can improve this. And depending on where you can choose where you want to put that error handling. I mean, you actually may want it in your, well, I don't know. It depends. You put some error handling inside of the app, inside of the client side app. You can put some inside of the server, on the server to capture any requests coming from any app and do some error handling there. It's up to you. It depends on how you're going to use. I think it depends on how you're going to use your API. Are you going to have a bunch of different apps hitting it? Are you just going to do, or do you want to do the error handling locally inside of your individual apps? How do you want to handle that? So, yeah. The whole time I was trying to figure out why MongoDB wouldn't let me add my nested objects to the database, but it's because I had used single quotes instead of double quotes for my strings. Yeah, I think MongoDB is pretty particular about that. As far as single, you got to use sorry, ugh. You got to use double quotes around your properties. Borg. Yeah, those may be some common misspellings. Am I going to push the MongoDB code to GitHub as well? Yeah, I think I pushed the other code to GitHub, didn't I? Yeah. Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'm going to push my code from my original version, which is the same as it's functionally the same as this one. I'll push that right after we end this stream, so you can copy it down if you need it. Oh yeah, Leah, that's a great point as far as like the double quotes thing. Yeah. Yeah, Honda Civic. I will definitely push this. And I will I'll call it something different. I'll call it uh, let's see, when using the object. The one so yeah, I pushed the one using the object, and I haven't pushed this one yet. So maybe I'll put this in a different repo so you can like compare the two side by side if you wanted to, versus just pasting, putting it on top and kind of overriding those changes from the last time. Would that help? If um, if you had the original and then you had this one with the MongoDB connection in it, like a separate repo. How would you guys like me to do it? Yeah, tempo. What you might want to do is maybe go back, and you could always like review the CRUD tutorial, like the 6 hour one, like I said, because that one is we really go step by step there. We go through every single step of like creating a MongoDB like account, and so if you're getting stuck like on that kind of thing, we go much slower on that one. We went kind of fast tonight. just because, you know, we've done the basic stuff before, but you can always rewind to one of those other, you know, you could watch the first version of this again, or the CRUD tutorial as well. You forgot to create the documents. Oh yeah, yeah. So you got to create your API, right? Sorry, not your API. You got to create your database. You got to create your collection, and then you got to put the actual objects, the documents, inside of there, so it has something to look up. Because otherwise, yeah, it'll just return an empty array. So to be clear, I know we're using a lot of new terminology here. So white screen warning. My apologies. All right. So let's just go back to the database real quick, and we're gonna say browse collections. So inside of our database, right, you're connecting to the database, then you're connecting to the collection inside of the database, and then inside of that collection you have objects, and those are called documents. So you have your documents inside your collection inside of your database. Yes. I know. Yeah. You did git push instead of git. Oh yeah, that's an easy mistake, because we're not just pushing to GitHub here, we're actually pushing to Heroku, right? So I know you can see the blinding light. I know it burns my skin. So somebody actually it was so sweet. Somebody actually asked on Twitter, like, you know, something like, we need to, you know, the next thing we need to know is Mine Wolf's skincare routine. And honestly, my skincare routine is not going outside and spending a bunch of time in the warm glow, the warm purifying glow of a computer screen. That's my skincare routine. So seems to work decently well. Gondor calls for aid. Light the beacons. Indeed. Yeah. So anyway, but this is the general structure of our database. And so we need to have, when we're telling our server to go get something out of the database, we need to say, hey server, go look for something with a name that is equivalent to Vulcans, or a name that is equivalent to humans. And then what you do is, if you find something like that, just go ahead and bring back this entire document for us, okay? And send that back to the client-side app, and the client-side app will know what to do with it. So that's really all that it's doing, is we're giving our server a URL which has some information in it, and we're saying, hey server, I'm giving you an alien name, get that out of there, go into our Mongo database, look for the name key here, name key, and say, hey, is there one in there called Klingons? And our server says, yeah, looks like there is, I found it. And so, all right, fetch that for me, bring it back, and give it to the client-side app. So our server is just our UPS guy that's going in and scanning the boxes until it finds what it's looking for. So in order for the UPS guy to be successful, you got to have the right types of items inside the truck. In this case, we need the right items inside the database, which have the appropriate names and the appropriate properties. So does that make sense? I hope that helps a little bit with understanding what are we doing with this database, and what role is our server.js, what role is that Heroku server what role is that Heroku server serving in handling requests that our app sends up to it. Well, this stream went by comparatively quickly, as my streams go. Yeah, Champa, you can send me a message afterwards, with your screenshots if you have them. Yeah, screenshots are always helpful. Yeah, thanks for coming, JQ. I hope to see you again soon. I should be streaming again on Sunday. Follow me on Twitter if you aren't already, !Twitter. That's where I announce like my schedule, I announce the stream topic, and just kind of what we're going to be talking about ahead of time. Shortest stream ever. I know. Well, I wasn't expecting it to go this well. It went too well. Not enough things broke. Well, hey, we don't have to go yet. If folks have questions, we can, we can explore it a little bit. We can look back at some of the code if you need to. Or, I mean, heck, we can end it here and just do a rate. I'm fine either way. I think this may be my shortest stream. Wild. Oh, car alarm's going off. That's great. Outside. Always good. First try, indeed. All right. Well, does anybody need to see like the coding? And like I say, I will push it up to GitHub. I'm gonna push my personal version, so it matches the other version that I pushed before. But I'll have it in a separate repo, so you'll be able to see like I'll call it like Star Trek. I'm only gonna push the API because we didn't change anything about the client side code, right? So you can use the current client side code to hit the new version of the API. You don't got to change anything. You can change the URL to be appropriate if you're hitting your own version or something, but really the client side is fine. So I'm just going to push the API and I'll call it like client side API, or sorry, um, like Star Trek API with Mongo or something like that. Hey, Durfus, we're actually just wrapping up. We just finished up. I'll get rid of the white screen here so we're not all blinding anymore. Yeah, we actually got our Star Trek app working with MongoDB as a backend. So Heroku, the server's hosted on Heroku and it's hitting a Mongo database backend. So pretty cool. Perfect timing indeed. That was part of the homework assigned last night, Leah? Was it? Making the doing the Mongo backend? Like I say, I missed class last night, so first time ever, feeling very ashamed. But yeah, I did miss class, so if that was what was assigned, then I guess I'm doing all right. Yeah, I haven't made it through. I haven't made it through the VOD yet. I didn't have time. Do you know what I want to do for my own app that we're supposed to make? Um, do you know what you want to do for our own app that we're supposed to make? Oh, want to make for own CRUD app, which is part of the homework. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I kind of want to like flesh this out more. Maybe have like something where you can input your own data like directly from this app. Because I really like this. I think this is so cool. I love this. I love this. This whole thing. I just love it. So I could maybe I'm thinking maybe I could add some additional pages. Up here you can click the buttons and you can go like input your own data. And have it right to the database or update things. I think I might add the full CRUD function to this. Yeah. Yeah, just adding, because right now this is just the R in CRUD, right? This is just the R in CRUD. So all it does is read, but I think I can make it editable as well. We're all crashing through MongoDB. I know. Trying to understand how to make envas and passwords not get pushed to repos. Yeah, yeah, that's the one thing we really haven't done yet. And maybe, so I think on Sunday, what we might do is explore some more ways of interacting with Mongo. Um, I'm hoping I have time. What I'd like to do is explore ways that we can write directly to Mongo without having to do that manual input into into the actual Mongo like client in the cloud because it really sucks. Having to hand type all that stuff is just terrible and it's a terrible interface. So I'm thinking maybe we can do a little course on how to upload multiple records into Mongo, and then maybe also talk a little bit about those environment things that we can do as well to hide that sort of thing. So easiest thing to do pass password is environment. Yeah, that's what everybody keeps saying. We just haven't done that yet, like in class. Are you doing a study group, Mavi? My God, indeed. But yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do Sunday is learn better ways to interact with Mongo that don't involve hand coding everything. And so that way we can really start. I think we'll probably keep using this example, this database, and keep fleshing it out and adding like a bunch more stuff in a mass upload kind of way. Because I have more Star Trek knowledge that I want to share with you all. It's very important. I have to do a brain dump of all my Star Trek knowledge. Otherwise, what do I have all this in my head for? So, funniest command man, indeed. All right. Well, it sounds like, oh, we're doing one to practice the banking in a more interview adjacent way. That's awesome. Yeah. Do an actual like back and forth conversation rather than just the impersonal, text to voice of Twitch chat. Yeah, I like it. Trek Flexosaurus. Indeed. I am one and I am not ashamed. You caught up. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to the now. Goofer was cruising real fast through the VOD at like 1.5 speed, and it looks like they finally caught up. Yeah. We're kind of winding down now. I don't know. It's only been 2 hours. I don't know what to do. This is too short for me. Normally at least one more hour. So yeah, we're just blazing through. But I guess, I think we'll go for a couple more minutes and then we'll probably just find someone to raid, and I'll have an extra hour of my evening back, I guess. Not that I necessarily want it, but I'll have it. I've gotten too good. I'm not sure about that, Rascal. Remember, I redirect your attention to the 2 or 3 hours of troubleshooting I did earlier today just to get this working at all. So there's that. Senka is dropping knowledge, dropping subs and dropping knowledge out there while running your Node.js server. You can set the variable for your password for Node app.js. Nice. Process.environment.dbpass. Yeah. Okay, so that's a way you can access the password for the database rather than having it out there for the world to see like I was. Yeah, I'm hoping we'll probably discuss that more on Thursday in Thursday's class, and then we can maybe explore that even more on Sunday. Thank you, Stengus. Loved having you here. I hope you can join us again. Tiny Chicken Code Squad are streaming? Okay, good deal. Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, and Wiz, welcome, Wiz. How did I get the CSS and everything for the API? So and just to be clear, this is not the API. This is the client-side app. So the API is a whole separate folder. This is just an app that's hitting that API. So there's they are separate, but I get where you're coming from. So this is actually a template, and it's the LCARS.com. Yeah, and this was written by a wonderful person who offers this template for free. So if you're into Star Trek, just go download it and you can use it for your apps. Just do hit him up on Twitter because he loves to see what people are doing with his template. But yeah, you can just go to menu, and it has all this wonderful stuff here that you can download, and it all works and it's glorious. So yeah, definitely they're Trekkie Jim on Twitter, Trekkie TREKKIEJIM. Check them out on Twitter. And if you do use this template, give them some thanks. So, because it's a really cool template. Yeah, Rascal posted the link there as well. I guess I'm still missing a bit of stuff, but when we changed it to fetch from Mongo, so we didn't actually have to make any changes on the client side app. Are you talking about the server inside the server side file? I can pull that back up. So when we changed it to connect to Mongo, in our version, we did not add a try. I think you can, but we didn't in this case. We just did a then and then a catch. Yeah, I'm in this case, I'm just copying the same syntax from the Zell WK tutorial that we did, the CRUD app tutorial that we did a little while back. So whether that's the best practice, I don't know. But again, I'm just taking the Legos that I have and kind of putting them together. However, there's probably best practice for these types of things that I'm probably not doing. But does it work? Yes, it does. Your VS Code is telling you that you should have a try somewhere. Interesting. Well, here's the whole thing. Hopefully you can see all of it. I wonder if maybe, do you have your whole, do you have it, so do you have the catch at the end of your Mongo client.connect? Do you have that? You may just have something in the wrong, like I'm wondering if maybe you have a catch in the wrong place, like a misplaced bracket, so you have a catch where it shouldn't be. That's possible. Okay, well, it is, and like I say, I'm gonna push this up later tonight. Maybe not right away, but I will be pushing it up. So check my GitHub, !GitHub, if you need a link to that. And you'll see a repo that says like Star Trek API with Mongo or something like that. Okay, let's find someone to raid before we lose all the viewers and our raid doesn't get anyone to watch them. So let me get somebody pulled up here. Two seconds. Yes, Twitch, I know I'm live. Thank you. All right, we're gonna raid. And yeah, let's hit up Tiny Chicken Code Squad. They got 6 viewers. I think they'll appreciate it. So, all right. Any last questions before we go? Thanks. Good luck figuring out what to do with all that free time. Yeah, I don't know, man. Oh, I'm gonna have to sit in silence for a while or something. Who knows? All right. We're gonna raid Tiny Chicken Code Squad, and I will see you all back here on Sunday. Watch my Twitter. There may be a schedule change. So, all right. See you soon. Raid's queuing up now.